What's up, everyone? Today we're here with John Gardepe, the founder of Bandz. And Bandz, for those of you who are unaware, is an awesome brand. They designed the sickest headbands. John's wearing one right now. They are a partner with us for Fittest of the Coast 2021. And I'm so excited because in addition, every athlete is going to get this, honestly, the coolest headband I've ever seen. And that's all being put on by Bandz and John's company. So, John, welcome.
Awesome, man. Thanks so much for having me. We're
Yeah,
excited to be part of the event.
absolutely, man. So let's just get right to it. So I want to know a little bit. We've talked briefly in the past, but I want to know a little bit about how this came to be
Sure.
in your company.
Yeah. So Bandz kind of came about from the drive of I have a business partner. Her name's Molly. She co-founded the company with me, and the company really came from the drive of both of us coming together at the same time, wanting to basically stop working for someone else, have our own business. And at the time, I was about 2 years into my CrossFit journey. And down in Florida, it was quite a transition going from working out at like a traditional bodybuilding gym where there's AC, where you're inside, to a CrossFit box. Especially down here, it gets hot. I'm sweating my balls off. And I was the kind of guy who I was a hat guy, essentially. So I was always wearing a hat, and then I'm finding myself having to buy a new hat every few weeks because I'm destroying it, sweating. And I turned to headbands. And honestly, they what I was finding, just it wasn't working for me. Basically, the material wasn't what I needed. I'm one of those guys where after the WOD, there's a puddle laying around me, and I needed something a little better than what I was finding. And at the time, I was actually working for a sportswear manufacturer. So I had access to material, I had access to the manufacturing process, and I decided, why not try making a headband that would work for me? And Molly, who at the time was kind of ready to move on to something else, and she's a graphic designer. So after dealing with some prototypes and seeing that, this could possibly be a product, I noticed that, if I were to start a company, which is something I've always wanted to do, there are some serious weaknesses in my game, which would be the whole branding aspect of a company. I can deal with the business side, figuring out the manufacturing and all that, but when it comes to branding, designing, I'm useless. So I saw her as a really good fit and discussed it with her, and we decided to take a stab at it. So that was January of 2019. The concept kind of came together. By July, we got some product made. Got a few hundred headbands and different patterns made, and our first event, we tested it at an event at a gym called Berg CrossFit down here in St. Petersburg. Did an event and things went really well. So at that point, we realized we had something in front of us and decided to run with it. And the last year and a half, almost 2 years, has been kind of a wild ride. Learning how to run a business, getting out there, growing it, going to events and product development and all that. But that's kind of how it came to be. All the pieces just kind of aligned at the right time, and we found a product where there was really I found a gap in the market there. And like I said, I was having a hard time finding the right product that worked for me. So I figured I'd try to fix that, and it's worked out really well so far.
You know what? And I think you're right. You definitely did find a gap in the market, that there isn't obviously a lot of opportunity for people to get quality headbands. And it's funny how this all works out is that literally probably like a week or so before you and I connected, I was just putting up a poll on our Instagram, and just because I was just curious, I was like, how many people like headbands? not even knowing about you or anything. And I think it was like 75% of the people who responded say, yeah, they love wearing headbands.
That's
Um,
awesome.
yeah, so people definitely love it, and it's definitely growing popular. But one thing, John, you had mentioned it about how you had the business acumen, but Molly had a little bit more of the branding side of things, and that's one thing that stuck out to me about what you guys are doing is from a social media standpoint, you guys have great imagery of people wearing your product, and I think you do a wonderful job of that. And you guys just launched you rebranded. Is that correct?
Yeah, we we realized honestly our website sucked. We just when we were starting out, we went the cheap route and got the easiest essentially website that we could use and tweaked it to work for our brand. But in the last 6 to 9 months, we've really realized like, hey, our website's not keeping up with the branding on our Instagram and where we want to be as a company and what we want people to see. And so we decided, going into the new year, it took a little longer than we anticipated, but we built out a new website and essentially relaunched. We set up a new logo and some new verbiage that pairs well with the vision that we have and where we want to go as a brand. So yeah, it's been pretty exciting the last few weeks.
Yeah, I think it's a really nice, clean look. So let me ask you this, John. So obviously you started in CrossFit, and that's kind of where this started from. Do you
Yeah.
foresee your brand moving into other, whether it be fitness components or lifestyle type of components? Do you see this evolving outside of the world of CrossFit and functional fitness?
Yeah, absolutely. We found and we've had some great success when it comes to, for example, like running. We've had good success with soccer teams and essentially even football players and all that. Everyone who's sweating really, we found a lot of success there. We're exploring the running and like the OCR industry, the obstacle course races. That's becoming a big focus for us. That headbands seem to be really huge in both of those. So we're definitely exploring different avenues and different industries. But we're, at the same time, we want to make sure the one that we start in, we're really honing in and becoming a big player there before we, spread ourselves too thin and just do things right. Do the things we're already doing right before we fall on our face.
Absolutely. So let me ask you this, John. So you obviously you said you started CrossFit, but before that you were kind of doing more the Globo gym theme. What kind of brought you into the world of CrossFit and functional fitness?
The number one thing that brought me into CrossFit was the community that I saw within the different CrossFit gyms that I either visited or friend groups or just people who were talking about it. So I moved from Pennsylvania to Florida really for no other reason other than to get out of Pennsylvania, to get out of the cold, to get into a prosperous community, because I've always been someone who's looking for that next opportunity and how to make things great. So Pennsylvania it wasn't doing it for me, honestly. I grew up in the sticks and there just wasn't enough there for me.
What part of Pennsylvania did you grow up in?
Outside of the Scranton area.
Okay.
No, the northeast part.
I went to school on the western side, and
Okay.
my wife's from there, and they always joke that like Pennsylvania, like you get like 6 sunny days a year, and the rest is like cloudy.
Yeah. Yeah, it's like the complete opposite of Florida. There's 3 months that you get to enjoy up there, and there's 3 months that maybe are a little too hot down here. So it's kind of like the complete opposite. But I really came down here not knowing anybody, didn't have much going on, and I noticed that one, fitness is really big down here. And so is CrossFit, and knowing that there's like knowing the community aspect was really strong within CrossFit, just from what I had heard and saw. And also I grew up playing baseball. And then, you know, at some point that stopped, and I no longer had that like competitive part of my life. So I saw CrossFit as a really good opportunity to fulfill that, but also to meet people. And as soon as I did, I fell in love. I found a great gym down here. I found a great community of people, and really never looked back.
So let me ask you this. You obviously said that you like wearing headbands. You're wearing one right now. How many days a week and how often are you wearing a headband?
You can't really tell now because I got a fresh haircut, but I have a curly head and it's thick. So there's no really taming my hair unless I put like a ton of product in it. And it's either, I put a hat on or I do my hair or wear a headband. I prefer to, I don't like doing my hair if it's unnecessary. That's part of, it's a perk of having my own business where I'm not really customer facing. I don't need to look that great. So I don't need to do my hair. So most of the time I'm wearing a headband just to hide whatever's going on up there. So all the time.
Well, I know this for a fact that I'm going to be scooping up a few different headbands from you at Fittest of the Coast, no doubt about that. John, let me ask you this. So you've been doing CrossFit now for a few years. Is there a workout that when you see it's on the whiteboard or it's programmed that you're just like, oh God, I'm not going in today? Is there a workout or a series of movements that just you hate?
Yeah, if the workout's longer than 10 minutes, I'm dreading it. If the workout includes any kind of body movement that that requires the bar or isn't handstand push-ups, yeah. so there's a whole bunch.
What on the flip
my
side?
Strong suits are.
Oh, go ahead.
What's up?
I was saying on the flip side,
my strong suits are strength and like barbell movement.
There you go. So I'm going to introduce you to my brother-in-law Josh at the competition. You guys sound like you're kindred spirits. One, he's a headband guy, and two,
awesome.
Anything that's longer than 10 minutes, he's running for the hills.
Yeah, they're not my favorite, that's for sure.
No, not at all. So, John, now as you continue to grow and you continue to kind of expand what you're doing, tell me a little bit about your vision and where you want to be and where you want to go as a company.
Sure. So right now, actually, before we started recording, I told you we're hiring and trying to expand. We're really trying to develop our field, our event and field marketing. Florida's been a huge market for us because it's within reach. All the CrossFit competitions, all fitness events, really we can get to. You guys are a little ways away, but we're going to make the trip, and we're trying to explore different markets outside of Florida, and establish some teams in different metropolitan areas, and start hitting different events. And we really want to take what we got going on in Florida, especially in the Tampa market, because we're based out of St. Petersburg, so we're right by Tampa. And create that across the nation. We really want to be known. When you see a headband, we want you to think, hey, is that Bandz? That's really the goal. So getting into the different cities, doing different marketing out there, spreading Bandz across the United States. Immediately we want to do that. We want to get into some international distribution, and then eventually when we have the opportunity, you need to be in business for a certain amount of time before you can get like professional sports licensing and all that. But we eventually want to get into that and see where that all takes us. So right now we're really focusing on what we're capable of doing in the next year and a half until we reach that mark where we can get those licensing deals.
Yeah, that's really interesting. Tell me a little bit about how long you have to be in business to do that, because obviously that's a good opportunity if you can get into it.
Yeah, so you need to be fulfilling orders for about 3 years. That may have changed, but last time I looked is a 3 year mark. You need 3 years of history of fulfilling orders. So those professional organizations want to know that if their branding is going to be on your products and people are ordering that, then you're going to be able to fulfill that. They don't want to be associated with a company essentially that can hit that mark and fulfill orders and do what they say they're going to do.
Gotcha. So, being just obviously, you just mentioned you're from the Tampa, St. Pete area. Are you a Buccaneers fan?
I am now. Grew up an Eagles fan, which didn't work out too well this year or last year. But it was definitely fun having the Bucks succeed like they did, and succeed better than they have in so long, and being right here for it. And it was a really cool story for the year. And Tampa's done great with really all sports this year. You got the Lightning winning the Stanley Cup last year, and the Rays going to the playoffs. So it was a fun year for Tampa, outside of COVID and all that.
Yeah. Yeah. Outside of that, so that's good stuff. So, two more questions for you, John.
Sure.
One, obviously, to stand out within within the market, you kind of have to have unique designs and whatnot that stand out. Tell me a little bit about that process, that how you guys determine what a design is going to look like or what you guys are going to feature.
Sure. There's really not too many designs that we don't go with the way that we manufacture and our ability to come up with a design pretty quickly, due to Molly being a phenomenal graphic artist. We really will put out a ton of designs. We're in a unique spot where we don't need to manufacture a lot of one thing, which is really a sticking point for a lot of apparel and sportswear companies, is the fact that minimum orders and all that tend to be really high. So you're limited in what you can produce and how many options you can put out at one time and all that, where we're not in that situation, thankfully. So we really, if we have an idea, we throw it on a headband, and if it sells, great. If it sells off real quick, we run it again. If not, we have a really good. It's been going really well. Whenever we put out a different design, someone tends to like it, and we go real broad with our options because there's so many personalities out there, which is something we use to our advantage. And I think sets us apart as a brand is a headband's kind of something that you can show off who you are, really. Where I like to use this reference or metaphor, whatever you want to call it. You can walk into a place, an establishment with llamas or avocados all over your headband, and people don't really bat an eye. But if you walk in with a shirt or pants on that have avocados or whatever printed all over it, you get funny looks. And it's a sad way that society is, but it's the truth of the fact. So we offer a way for people to express who they are and express their interests without getting them funny looks. So we go real broad with our options, and we got patterns that are wild and funky, and we got patterns that really just are basic and for those who are buying it for more of the functionality purpose of it than the expression. So Molly's so good at what she does, and we have that in house. So we just run with really any design concept that we have or people suggest to us, and take it from there, see how it does.
Yeah, I'm a big fan, and when an idea pops into your head, running with it, because sometimes they take off.
Yeah,
I'm a big fan of that. But John, let me ask you this. So you guys obviously have some like kind of crazy designs. You were talking about the avocado one. Have you guys ever reached out to the Buttery Bros to try to do a collab with them? Because I feel like that would be right up their alley.
I'll say that's potentially on the radar. They are working with another company at the moment, but there's potential opportunity for that. But yeah, I don't want to say too much.
Well, I'm rooting for you.
Appreciate it.
Last question, John. So obviously, for the first time, you guys are making your way to South Carolina for Fittest of the Coast 2021. Tell me what people can expect as far as products when they come by your vendor booth at the event in April.
Yeah, we just released and are in the process of releasing a ton of new patterns. So we're going to come up with a bunch of new patterns that we're releasing, a bunch of new styles of headbands. For a long time, we stuck to essentially the one that you see me wearing right now. That's our standard performance headband. But we've got like a ninja. We've got some twisted ones for the ladies, a little more fashionable, and I'll be bringing up a ton of apparel. There'll be some freebies for people that come to the booth, stickers, patches, all that kind of stuff. So yeah, lots of a good mix of things.
Well, I'll tell you what, we're excited you're coming up to South Carolina, and we're going to give you a big old coastal welcome when you come up in April. John, hey man, it was a pleasure. I can't wait to meet you in person in about 4 weeks, and we'll see you in April.
Awesome, man. Thank you so much for having me. Looking forward to it.